According to a 2019 report, special educators are leaving the profession at a much higher rate than their general education peers. In fact, the turnover has caused a 17% drop of special educators in the past 10 years alone. This is a scary number when there already is a teacher shortage. One of the reasons for this is the overwhelming amount of work involved in the job. Many people don't realize that there's a noticeable difference in the amount of testing, data collection, and writing involved in special education, all of which teachers are legally compelled to do or face a federal offense. Teachers need to be able to organize these legal documents and have them all at a finger's distance in a moment's notice. Not exactly easy when you have other responsibilities, such as, teaching. It took me a long time to find a system that works for me, and I'm still constantly tweaking it to fit my current classroom and staff. Today, I will show you some of my organizational strategies that hopefully will help you develop your own system, making you less overwhelmed in the long run. So paperwork has always been a nightmare for me. I'm not naturally organized. I tend to be a person that stacks papers in random places and forgets where these said random places are. My first solution was to get rid of my desk. I do not have a desk. I have a table I teach at. This makes it harder for me to stack things. However, the most important part of my organizational system is to get a binder for each of my students, which we affectionately call their Bible. A Bible is where I put all the most essential paperwork for each of my students. I got the template for my binders from Mrs. D's Corner on Teachers Pay Teachers. I will post a link in the description box. It does require a small cost up front, but it is totally worth it. These IEP binders are editable, and you are able to decide based on your class what exactly you would like in your Bibles. Here's a copy of what one of my Bibles looks like. I always have an empty one for my aides so that they can make Bibles for new students that come in. It's important to have continuity between each binder so that they are easy to use for the various staff members that may need to use them. Need to review a behavior plan? Boom, grab the Bible. Need data for an upcoming MET? Boom, grab the Bible. Have an advocate coming in to look at your data? Boom, grab the Bible. There are so many instances where these binders come in handy. They really can help in a pinch. I always have them at IEP meetings to show work samples and data on their goals. The binders are portable and right there in your hand. So this is a copy of one of our IEP Bibles, as we have coined them. It's got my name on because it's a template for my aides to use in order to make other binders for incoming students. I want them all to be the same so that there's continuity. And also I have my name on it because for confidentiality purposes, I'm not going to show you one of the binders from one of my real students. I put the year the student is in my classroom, and sometimes it's multiple years, so that we know when this data was collected. So here's a copy of the table of contents. The table of contents does not come with the template that I talked about, so I had to create my own. In this, I have my behavior plans, IEPs, METs, any parent communication that we have. So we do daily communication forms between the parents and myself, and once a week I file those daily communication forms in here. Referrals are for any referrals the kids earn in our classroom. A referral in our classroom is for anything that is considered really unacceptable, such as cussing, throwing objects, tearing things apart, hurting another student, just the major things. Most of the referrals in my classroom result in a consequence such as the reflection form, and then at the end of the day they are not allowed to check out and get rewards for their behavior. If it's major things such as hurting other people or anything that's against the law, that often results in a suspension from our school, because that is beyond, in our opinion, a Boys Town problem. Other Boys Town forms, such as the ledger forms, after they're done with a ledger, we put them in here so that we have data from the beginning through the end of the year to see how kids are doing with their goals and if we need to change them. We have handle with care forms in here for the few times that we give holds to our students. This is very infrequent because I really don't like to put kids into holds. The only time they are ever put in a hold is if they're a threat to themselves or others. Any IEP data forms. So this would be the data forms that we have from our green binders. We put them in here after they're finished so that we have their data for their IEP goals for the rest of the year available when we have IEPs and stuff. So these are the classes I teach currently: social skills, ELA, social studies, and science and math. I put any work samples in there so that we can see how the kids are doing in each of these areas and have some working stuff for them that is done. And 13 is the testing. And so the testing is any of the tests that I give for benchmarking, to see how the kids are doing throughout the year. I like to do at least one at the beginning of the year, one in the middle of the year, and one at the end of the year. But I like to see how the kids are growing, and I keep this in their binder. Each of the pages is a different pattern so that it's easy to find. Before I used these binders, it was really hard for me to organize stuff, and I really recommend that you use something like this. There are times that it is difficult to file things as they come in. In these situations, I place everything needed to be filed or shredded later in these small drawers. Then anytime I have a second or one of my aides has a second, we can utilize this time to file things. I also have a drawer for things that need to go intra-district mail. This helps us avoid the piles of doom where our paperwork gets lost in another dimension. My district utilizes the Boys Town model in our EDP classrooms. With this program, we get a lot of fantastic data on their pro-social goals. Both the students and the teachers are responsible for collecting this data. My students carry around the point sheets on a clipboard to prevent them from losing this important data. At the last period of each day, we go through the data together as a way to review what the student needs to work on and to reinforce what they did well in the day. We developed a binder just for this purpose. Everything is labeled so that the students are able to be responsible for keeping it organized. This is an accounting ledger that we use in our classroom. This is how we keep track of the points the kids earn in the Boys Town model. We have it separated into different categories: the accounting book, the point sheets the kids get, and the menus to negotiate with. And I'll go over those a little briefly right now, and later on I'm hoping to go through the Boys Town model better. So this is the counting book section. This is our motivation system. The kids put their target goals in here so that these are all behavioral goals, such as staying on task, accepting no, disagreeing appropriately. Every day we put in the date, total points that the kids earned in the day for their behavior, the total points that they lost for misbehavior, and we have a ratio which we use these for our IEP goals, because a lot of our behavior goals are in our IEPs. They get points for their positive behavior, and at the end of the day, they get to use the points to check out. This is the point sheet that we used. Again, we have their target areas. These are other things that they may have done that are positive, and for each period they earn points and for assignment completion,
participation, and they get bonus points if they do really well in class. This is the progress point sheet. So when you're on progress, these are the kids that get to go out for part of the day. They have bigger privileges than the other kids, and the prizes are for less points. And this is the daily point sheet reward menu. I use this for the kids who aren't going out at all and they're on daily. They get points, like I said, for their behavior, and at the very end of the day, we go over their points, how they did during the day, and if they didn't get a referral, they use their points to buy these things. At one time, we had a lot of snacks and stuff like that we provided. I am trying to do a good job at not having to buy as many things, so we get a lot of donations and stuff, and we're trying to be creative. Next year we'll have some more things that cost nothing, because it's better on my pocketbook, and my husband prefers that way. So when they're on progress, instead of just they have a different form, and they negotiate their points based on their behavior for the day.
Special education classrooms are very data-driven. Each of my students is given a green folder that is specific to them and their IEP goals. These folders store data and the materials they need for their specialized direct instruction on their goals. The final thing that I am going to talk to you about today is the communication binder. I place this near the classroom phone. It stores the emergency contacts for each of my students. There is a place for staff to write a brief description of any contact or attempt to contact the adults that are in charge of these students in their home environment. What type of paperwork do you store in your classroom, and how do you store it? I'm always looking for new ideas and would love to hear about it in the comments section.